Hey guys, welcome back to NASCAR Talk. Today I'll be talking about the Martinsville race that took place this past Sunday. I know this is another late video. Today I'll be talking about also the Championship 4 and the chances they have to win the championship. Before we get into that, I would just like to say that the race that took place at Martinsville is just more proof that NASCAR belongs on short tracks. It was amazing. Now, I think NASCAR's big problem is that it's a little too long. 500 laps was a bit much, but it was still a lot of fun to watch, and the racing was great. So, let's talk about who got eliminated and why they got eliminated. Okay, first we're going to start off with Joey Logano, who probably had the worst day of all of them. Okay, so Joey Logano finished 10th, which is a top 10, but he was in a must-win situation. He had a tough race the whole day. I mean, his car was never the way he wanted it, so it was pretty obvious that he was going to get eliminated. He just wasn't the best that day. Texas, he had an engine issue, and Kansas it wasn't great. So it was pretty clear that Joey Logano was going to be eliminated once the end of Kansas came about. He would need to win at Martinsville, and he did not have the car. So it was pretty clear that he was going to be eliminated, and he was. He was, I believe, 8th in the point standings of the guys who got eliminated. Then we've got Ryan Blaney, a driver who had an up-and-down day, to say the least. I believe he had a penalty at some point. Maybe I'm wrong, but he also had some damage that I always thought was acting like a parachute, although the crew never seemed to fix it. So it was pretty clear that Blaney didn't have the car early on that he needed, and then he got the damage and it was not driving the way Blaney wanted it. And then at some point during the race, I believe halfway through, he had top 5 pace, and then he just fell off a cliff. It was terrible for Ryan Blaney. He hasn't had the greatest round. He was looking pretty good going into Kansas. He had a solid race at Texas. It looked like he was having a solid run at Kansas until it went downhill. So going into Martinsville, it wasn't a must-win for Blaney at all, but with the day he had, there was pretty much no chance he was going to make it. And now we get to the bubble. Truax Jr., Kyle Busch, then Brad Keselowski. These 3 drivers were the guys fighting to make it in. And I believe with around 20 to go, Truax Jr. got a decent bit of damage on the front of his race car. It looked like there was a serious tire rub, although I don't believe they came in to fix it. And this was a major concern. Although he pressed on and got a 4th place finish, which isn't half bad. And coming in, he wasn't above the cut, but he certainly wasn't significantly below it. And after having a pretty good stage 1 and 2, it was pretty easy for him to coast in until he got the damage, which almost got him eliminated, but he somehow was able to make it. I just thought I'd mention that he was +1 to the cut line. Then we go down to Kyle Busch, the first driver out. He's -1 to the cut. I don't know what to say. So I'm going to talk about this later, but Denny, Hamlin, and Alex Bowman got into an incident wrecking Denny Hamlin, and one of my favorite YouTubers, Eric Estep, mentioned that he was surprised that Kyle Busch, who eventually finished 2nd, didn't just run it in and wreck Alex Bowman. In fact, Alex Bowman had just wrecked his teammate for the win, so he was a little surprised that Kyle didn't wreck Alex Bowman. Well, I don't think Kyle would have just straight up wrecked him. I think he could have put the bumper to him. I think he should have probably put the bumper to him, because if you think about it, he's going for a championship 4, a chance to win his 3rd career championship, and he just kind of sat back and watched Alex Bowman win. But I just want to mention that this was a big move when it comes to respect. Him and Alex Bowman aren't exactly amigos, but they're not enemies either. They're neutral. From what I can tell, they just kind of race each other. And Kyle Busch, that was a respectful move. I kind of respect that he didn't wreck Alex Bowman. Now, I just want to make it clear, of course he tried to win. He just didn't step over the line and try to wreck Alex Bowman. Brad Keselowski, this was an interesting dilemma. He was below the cut line late in the race with around 10 to go, and he wrecked Chase Elliott just for 1 point, which wouldn't put him above the cut. He was amazingly aggressive, and for Brad Keselowski, I was a little surprised. Martin Truax Jr., and Denny Hamlin are the 3 drivers that I think that I put in a category of calm and collective. Now, of course, every single one of those drivers has had their moments where they are mad. In fact, Martinsville was one of those moments for Denny Hamlin, and a couple of years back, Truax Jr. the same way. Brad Keselowski, it happens a little bit more, but he's one of those more calculated drivers that, or at least recently, I don't see him just send it into the corner much to go wreck the guy for the win. He's a little more calculated, like Denny Hamlin, and Kyle Larson, I would even say, is a little more calculated this year, especially as crew chief. So, I was a little surprised to see Brad Keselowski do that. And I would say shocked, too. I mean, he just ran Chase Elliott off the racetrack, spun him out, and was eliminated. He had a solid run at Phoenix last year. I believe he finished second in the point standings. Not half bad at all, especially considering that wasn't like his greatest year of all time. So I was surprised to see him eliminated. He seemed to have a good car earlier on in the race, yet he was still eliminated. Okay, so I just want to talk about this quick. This video is getting a little long, but Kyle Larson, his chances at Phoenix. I just want to rattle through quick what I think of each driver at Phoenix. Kyle Larson, out of the championship four, had the worst finish at Phoenix earlier this year. It's known not to be one of his better racetracks. A 7th at Phoenix. Not great. And probably the most similar track in setup is New Hampshire. I don't even know if he finished top 10 there. So, it's not looking great for Kyle Larson when it comes to the track, but I think they've had so long to prepare the car that I think he'll be right there with the leaders contending for the championship. I'd say confidence level for Kyle Larson, I'll put it at 80%. He's with a good team. He's shown speed at every racetrack this year, although I think Phoenix would be the worst possible track for the championship race to be at for Kyle Larson, unless it was a super speedway. Oh no, that would be terrible, but I do think that Kyle Larson has a legitimate shot. It's just a little bit concerning that it's Phoenix and he hasn't done great there. Next in line, Denny Hamlin has great statistics at Phoenix. I know I'm wearing a Denny Hamlin shirt, so you might think I'm biased, but Denny Hamlin's got a great shot at Phoenix, but Joe Gibbs Racing hasn't been as good as Hendrick Motorsports when it comes to equipment this year. Joe Gibbs Racing always seems to have a little bit of a lack in good equipment compared to Hendrick. So for Kyle Larson, I'd say concerned about the track, not concerned about the equipment. For Joe Gibbs Racing, a little bit more concerned about the equipment, not concerned about the track. It's the complete opposite. I'd say Denny Hamlin, I think he's got a really good shot, but the equipment does hold him back a little bit. I put 75% on the confidence level for Denny. He's coming off of a heated argument at Martinsville, so 75%, but I think he's got a legitimate shot. Next up is Chase Elliott, and I don't know what to say about him. He has a legitimate shot. He's going for 2 in a row, but there's something about 2 championships in a row for Chase Elliott after he got his first career win in 2018. This is 2021. He's only had 2 seasons since then to win, not including this one. I just think the last couple of years, he's picked up momentum. I don't think he can get 2 in a row, and that's just, not with statistics, but he's done decent at Phoenix. I believe he got top 10 at Phoenix earlier this season. I'm going to put him at 70% on the confidence level. I'm not too confident in Chase Elliott, but he does have a shot considering he has won there and he's got good equipment. So I think the 2 things he needs to look at, good equipment and the fact that he's won there before. He's not great at short tracks compared to 1.5 miles and other tracks like road courses, but he is still pretty good at short tracks. Finally, we come to Martin Truax Jr. This guy, I'm actually going to put at an 85% on the confidence level. Here's why. Now, I mentioned Joe Gibbs Racing, equipment-wise, they might not be as good as Hendrick, maybe falling a little bit short, but I do think that Joe Gibbs has really good equipment, so it shouldn't be too big of a disadvantage at all. But Martin Truex Jr. is good at Phoenix. While his average finish is the worst of all 4 of them, he didn't have a good start to his career, let's be honest. So I think he's got the biggest shot at Phoenix compared to all of them. Decent equipment, he's good at Phoenix. My only concern is that Martin Truax Jr. has lately not been able to get the job done. Ever since Darlington, it seems like he hasn't been able to get the job done. Richmond was the only time, but he wasn't good at the beginning of the race. So if you see him running mediocre during the middle of the race, it's likely that he's not going to be able to get the championship without pit strategy. In fact, Denny, Hamlin, and Chase Elliott were the favorites at Richmond. Guess what? Kyle Busch and Martin Truex Jr. were the guys battling at the end until Denny Hamlin passed Kyle Busch when Kyle Busch had an issue. So honestly, Martin Truex Jr. has the best shot. That's my only concern for him. Something I just want to mention quick, the Denny Hamlin-Alex Bowman incident. Denny Hamlin was throwing out strong words at Martinsville. Alex Bowman's making t-shirts off of it. He apologized. It looked intentional. I'm not going to lie. It looked a little intentional. I don't think he went into the corner and cleaned him out completely on purpose, but I think yes, he was tight, but I think he also saw an opportunity. The car went up the track a little too much, too soon, I'd say. It looked as if he had blown a tire almost. So, I think it was a little intentional. Denny Hamlin's words, I'm going to say a little strong. I think the front stretch confrontation, doesn't matter if Alex Bowman did it on purpose or not, he still wrecked him. So I think Denny has the right to be mad. So obviously I think that was okay. I think, calling Alex Bowman out on it, that's okay, but the words were a little strong. Denny Hamlin released a quote saying that he performs well under chaos. We will see. But that's been my thoughts on the Martinsville race that took place this past Sunday. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's a little late, but I hope you guys enjoyed. Signing off for now, this has been Cole Jones on NASCAR Talk.